Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. What do you think this program is about? Not an intoxicated TV host, no. It's about gardening, having a green thumb, but this is any sunshade here in the land of enchantment is good, but this is not working too well in the studio. But we do have my gardening gloves as we discuss how to garden and how to grow things here in the land of enchantment. I heard a recent radio report saying that a lot of people don't consider that they have a green thumb for gardening. It was really a low percentage, about 30% of the people in this report said, yeah, I've got a green thumb. Well, do you have a green thumb? I don't think I do, but I know who can help us. The New Mexico State University Extension Program and the Master Gardening Program can help you if you do not have that green thumb. Or if you do and you just want to get a little greener. So please stay with us as we discuss all the things the Extension Program and the state of New Mexico brings to you that your tax dollars pay for, but help that you can have in your garden or in your front yard if you want a xeriscape, or on your side yard, or in your city park. We'll talk about all the things they do throughout our state and in each of our communities right after this. Please stay with us.
The National Education Association of New Mexico, a union of teachers and school staff, believes every child deserves to learn at a school that inspires their imagination, cultivates their curiosity, and ensures a fulfilling life. Public schools should provide all our students with small class sizes and one-on-one attention. NEA New Mexico asks you to join us so together we can end the teacher and staff shortage and invest in our public education system once and for all. Sponsored by NEA New Mexico.
Okay, today we're going to talk about a program also called Ready, Set, Grow. Grow. Have you been growing? Have you been growing anything in your hothouse, in your gardens here in New Mexico? I know it can be difficult, but some people say no, it can't. It doesn't have to be because they thrive. And thanks again to the Master Gardening Program here in the state. And I have the Agriculture Agent, Lynda Garvin, who is with the County Extension and oversees the Master Garden programs throughout the state of New Mexico. Welcome to Issues and Answers again.
Great, thanks Diane, it's good to be here.
Thank you. And Sarah Moran, thank you so much for being a part of the program. You're mainly in Bernalillo County, working with our extension programs here.
Yes, ma'am.
And you smiled when I said it doesn't have to be difficult to grow things, that things actually do thrive here in Bernalillo County.
Yeah. Many things thriving. Sometimes it takes some trial and errors, but yeah, it's all about having fun and all about experimenting.
That's what they say, Linda, about being a master gardener. You need to love to grow things, but also to love to learn, to expand your knowledge about growing, but also to love to share what you know.
Right, exactly. That's the whole purpose of the Master Gardener program, is to share that science-based information with the, people in their communities and help them solve their issues with gardening, whatever that may be, whether it's your landscape, your turf, grass, or even growing vegetables and fruit trees in your yard.
So it covers all of those things. Sometimes I think of master gardening is just a garden, doing a fruit and vegetable garden, but it can be a flower bed garden, it can be your xeriscaping, it can be your landscaping, your trees and shrubs. All of that is encompassed with master gardening.
Right, we cover everything, and to me, even if you live in an apartment and you only have a small balcony, everybody can do some gardening. Just little containers, pots, mini tomatoes in pots, different potted plants. I think everyone should grow something live wherever they live.
And why do you think that?
Well, it's good for your mental health, and it keeps you connected with the earth, even if it's in a pot. And the satisfaction of growing something and then picking it and then eating it, it's just, there's nothing like it.
And it's fresh.
It's fresh, tastes good, it's also good for your health, it lowers your blood pressure, it's calming, it's meditative. It's good for your general well-being to do some kind of gardening.
And if you haven't started it, just calling your extension agent or looking online. I mean, these days we look online. There's so many programs. And we're going to talk about statewide with you, Linda, a lot of them. But Sarah, here in Bernalillo County, a lot of programs, and I mentioned one, Ready, Set, Grow, just because I like the name of it.
Yes, here in the county we offer different programs. If you go to our extension office or reach out via email, we can also provide information. We have a few publications in English and Spanish that will help you to kind of start.
What are we looking at there, Linda? Is that someone you know?
Yes, that's a Sandoval County Master Gardener right there, working in, looks like the Rio Rancho, Waterwise Garden. So that is maintained by Master Gardeners in Sandoval County.
So let's go through the state on this first program. We're going to have you back and talk about bugs and diseases and things like that, weeds that I'm all allergic to. But again, throughout the state, I think almost every county has a Master Garden program.
In New Mexico right now we have 16 counties with programs, and the three largest programs are Santa Fe, Sandoval, and Bernalillo County. But we have others in Taos, Otero, Valencia, all over the state.
And I've had experience just once, had to call the Santa Fe Extension office, went there in person, to bring, I think, my tree branches that was dying or something, so that's really my limited experience of the help. But here in Bernalillo County, you do just answer questions either online or giving a call. That's just kind of the basics of the Master Garden program. Is that true, Sarah?
Yes, here in the county, Master Gardeners, March through October, they have what we call hotline. And you can call to a phone number, whether it's our office or the Albuquerque Garden Center, and you can ask any gardening question. We can also ask you to send pictures via email. We, or myself as an agent, we also provide some services such as site visits. We also send samples to NMSU Plant Diagnostic Clinic if we suspect of some sort of disease, so we can have an accurate diagnosis and provide better recommendations, treatments, and things like that.
What do you think is one of the most common things here, Sarah, in Bernalillo County that people ask about, that you probably laugh at? You probably laugh at a lot of the questions. Wow, they don't know that.
Well, probably the most popular topic is trees. And vegetables, I will say tomatoes, peppers, but mostly trees. With the ongoing drought and heat, we have been seeing a lot of issues related to that.
Like what?
Like trees dying or not leafing out, or even insect issues, but those tend to be secondary, mainly because trees are under stress, just like us. If we are weak and under stress, then it's much more easier that we get
an infestation,
yes, exactly.
Of that.
So same with the trees or plants in general.
What about statewide? Similar question, Linda. What are the basic questions statewide that people are asking their extension agents?
The number one is always trees. My tree is not thriving, leaves are turning brown, or my pine tree, the needles are turning brown. So it's usually like 95% or higher that it's water related, lack of water. People don't water enough, and often they water it with if they have a lawn, they water it with the turf, and they have different water needs. So trees definitely need much more water than what you're putting on your lawn. So, and we also need to water during the winter here in New Mexico, which is different from other parts of the state that have hard freezes, where winter stays for many months and it doesn't get above 50. But here it's quite, it's very often that temperatures rise above 50 degrees. So trees are still actively taking up water during the winter. So newcomers here, and even a lot of residents, don't know that you need to water your trees during the winter months as well.
I've heard you need to, but I didn't know why.
Yes, that's why.
Because in colder climates, I'm from Minnesota originally, there you don't water because you can't get to the...
Well, the ground's frozen and the trees are dormant. They're not actively taking up water and nutrients during the winter.
But even if our trees have dropped their leaves, those trees need to be watered as well.
Right, they still are functioning, they're respiring through different pores on like the small tiny branches, so they actively are taking up water.
And I do have evergreens up in Santa Fe that the needles are quite brown, and someone pointed that out. It
Right.
just,
Right, so if they're browning at the very top or the outermost edges of the needles, that's the furthest away from the root zone. So that's usually water related, because that's the furthest distance from where the water is being taken up. So
and if it's not,
then it might be some kind of vascular issue where the roots are clogged and it's not being able to take up water even though it's available in the soil.
so is water issue regarding trees, most people are calling in Bernalillo County and throughout the state about their trees not blooming or not leafing out, turning brown, the leaves, the needles. Is it usually water then, the answer? Usually.
Yes, yep, usually. Above 90% it's water, yeah.
And what do you tell them? Just water consistently, or you tell them how many times per week, depending on where they live in the state?
Well, Sarah gives that advice more often, so I'll
Okay,
let her
Sarah, what do
answer
you-
that question.
Yeah, well, we like to look at case by case, because every scenario is different. When we look at water, there are also other factors affecting the season, the soil type, how mature, how big, how small is the plant. If some people kind of might have a tree that's not adapted to the area, so we also have to look at all those stuff. With water, it's sadly there is no magic answer, but definitely we can provide information, guidelines for your situation, for a particular situation.
But you have to be there isn't any general 3 times a week. I know 3 times a week for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
There
it's
isn't.
one of the most popular questions and one of the hardest to respond in, 3 sentences kind of thing. So, yeah.
We want that. It's a quick
Yeah, we love
Twitter
that for
generation. We
sure,
just want
yeah.
it quick. I do understand the roots aren't just straight down from the trunk, but as wide as the branches are.
Yes.
So what's the good idea, Linda, to water it around the perimeter?
Okay, so there is the drip zone, which is the edges of the canopy. So that's where, if it's raining, the water would be dripping off the canopy. So the active root zone actually starts there and then goes out maybe 3 to 5 times larger than the canopy. So most people aren't watering where those active roots are taking up minerals and water from the soil. So you need to really expand. If you have a little well around your tree, most people don't expand that as the tree grows, or move out their emitters. If they have drip irrigation, they don't move it out as the tree grows. So they're watering the trunk, which is not taking up water at all, so they're wasting water. So getting the water where the roots are is one of the biggest thing they need to do. And we have information on the NMS website about how to appropriately water your trees. There's some rule of thumb, but most people aren't watering where the roots are.
So the canopy, because I understood the roots went to the canopy.
No, well, they go way beyond.
And that's where the active starts at the canopy and go way beyond.
Right, way beyond that drip zone.
And the ones away from the trunk are very small.
Yep.
The ones near the trunk?
Away from the trunk,
are small.
which is
Yeah.
what we call feeder roots. Those are the ones looking for moisture, water. So those are the ones that we want to
But
keep them.
watering the trunk?
Yeah, no, won't help.
yeah.
That's all woody material. It's not taking up water at all.
And that's why, again, looking at case by case is important.
Okay, but
'cause-
this was a big case.
Yeah, that can be a topic for another.
Yes, that's a whole show.
Oh, no, but just not at the trunk.
Yeah.
Don't most people water at the trunk?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, you hear it on the show. I knew it was the canopy, but I didn't know the active started at the canopy and went on. So my trees are getting water from other plants that I'm watering
Yes,
further out.
absolutely.
Any problem with invasive trees? I mean, that's an issue that I've had with actually neighbors and allowing I think they're called the Chinese elms to grow.
Well, it's not Chinese elm actually, but yeah.
The invasive elms.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. They look alike, but they're Yeah, they're in survival mode and they can quickly take over an area, and they germinate very readily. So that's a big one, and the tree of heaven is very invasive because they're not only propagating by seed, they're also sending out roots, and they have these water sprouts that come off the root system. So
that's called tree of heaven?
Tree of heaven, Alianthus, I forget what the species name.
Is that throughout the state or mainly Santa Fe, Albuquerque?
It's probably everywhere, I would imagine.
I do have some other trees that do I've noticed that I don't know what the tree of heaven is, but other trees I've noticed are sprouting out in other parts of I had never seen that before.
That's also a drought strategy. They're trying to send up new
survival mode.
Send up new shoots.
Oh, really?
Yes. Some that's propagate. They're just trying to send up more, but others that's a symptom of drought, that they're trying to send up as many new shoots as they can to get water and nutrients to the mother tree.
So we've had rain recently. Are we considered in a drought here in the state?
Absolutely, yes, long-term drought. Just because we get rain now doesn't offset what the deficit is over many years of drought.
Yeah.
It does not.
No, and you'll still be seeing those drought symptoms in your trees, even though from previous years, even though now we're getting some good rains. It's helping, but it's not solving the issue.
The deficit is still there. Yeah.
Right.
So we talked about trees. 90% are calling kind of about the trees.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to another program regarding, since COVID hit, it's online, Ready, Start, Grow. Tell me a little bit about that, Sarah.
Yeah, the Ready, Set, Grow was a program that started right at the year of the pandemic. That was 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. And it is a collaboration among other agents and a specialist from New Mexico State University, Suzanne Cole from Moran County, John Garlish from Bernalillo County, who else we had? Emily Burton from Socorro County, Lynda Garvin with the State Master Gardener program is also in this. Dr. Marisa Thompson, who is the horticulture specialist, and a former IPM specialist, Amanda Skidmore, as well. We started this program, I think it was in September 2020. We started with twice a month. Now we are down to once a month, but it was a hit. I think the first time that we launched the class, we had close to 300 participants from all over, not only New Mexico, it was all over the state. And I think even we had from a couple different countries as well. So it was a huge thing. We have recently won an award with the National Association for County Agriculture Agents as well, so we are very happy with it. We love how it's been received, and you can find all the information like previous videos, materials, publications, and everything on our website as well. You can look on desertbloom.nmsu.edu, and you should be able to find like a little icon there that say Ready, Set, Grow. And that will take you to all the previous video classes from since we started. And also there are some upcoming classes that you can enroll and watch them live as well. But it's
the whole mission of this Ready, Set, Grow is what, Sarah?
I will say it is just to give you science-based information, reliable information, for you to grow and be successful in your garden, and also encourage you to experiment, have fun, just go out there, whether it's a pot or in your garden, just start to grow. Yeah.
Start to
just
grow.
get ready to set and grow.
Did we see, Linda, during COVID, more people, and now with the price of groceries, horrendous prices, are we seeing more popularity of people planting things in their pots and in their little piece of plot in their yard? What have we seen through the extension?
I used to have the numbers in my head, but I don't anymore, but it was at least, normally an in-person gardening class would have maybe 20 people. That would be a well-attended class, but with COVID and online classes, we get hundreds of people. And a lot of people turned to gardening because they were at home, they wanted to feel like they had some control, that they were, having a backup for their food because shelves were empty at that time for certain things. People just wanted to do something to feel like they had more control over their lives and the food that they were eating. And it's very helpful. It's a good stress release. So the sale of seeds skyrocketed. I think burpee seeds, it was like 500-fold increase in sales just because people really wanted to garden. And then the request that we had for, how do I start a garden? How do I grow food? Really increased, and it really helped the Ready, Set, Grow program, like she said, have like hundreds of people attend these classes live online. So it really did set in motion this trend to start growing more things at home, whether it's for pollinators or for your family, just gardening in general.
And what do you mean for pollinators?
Well, you can create pollinator gardens that provide habitat. So insects need, a place to feel safe and to raise their babies just like we do. And also they need nectar and pollen for their food. So creating those garden spaces where it provides all those functions for those pollinators and those beneficial insects that are going to help take care of those insect pests like aphids, ladybugs and green lacewings and other insects that help keep those pest populations down, then you need to provide food and shelter for them.
And people do that.
Source.
And people do that.
Absolutely. And it's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do they know they do it because it's gorgeous, or do they know that they're a pollinator protector?
I think a lot of people are very into providing those habitats, and there are even some certification programs where you can have a pollinator certified garden, like Santa Fe Master Gardener program does have one to certify yards to be like habitats for pollinators and beneficial insects. Yep.
Wow. Surprising. Wow.
Yes, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're really beautiful.
Yeah, I think you supplied us some photos, some pictures of them. Regarding, so again, I started the program. We'll do it the next show about all the different programs throughout the state, but trees are a concern. Gardens, is it after trees, flower gardens, vegetable gardens? What would you say is the most interest that people are showing through the extension, the phone calls and things that they're
Tomatoes,
asking?
like Sarah says.
Yeah,
tomatoes and peppers are usually
two.
Tomatoes are number one.
Yes, yeah. Tomatoes are very, very popular. Chili, peppers as well.
So more vegetables than the flowers necessarily.
Yes, probably. Although sometimes they might come hand to hand, but yeah, I will say it's a little more vegetables than flowers. I think flowers, people start planting them because they are pretty, but then they start to realize that also bring beneficial insects, and that collaborates and create that biodiversity in their garden, which is also beneficial for the entire ecosystem that you have there.
What makes, Linda, tomatoes so popular? Because you can just grow them on your patio in a pot, and you can actually have a nice fruit or vegetable that you enjoy. What makes, and are they easy? What makes them so popular?
They are warm season plants, which means they will start germinating when the soils are warm, like 60 degrees and above. So in New Mexico, where it's very hot, there are certain varieties that do very well in our hot, dry climate, and I think it's part of the New Mexican cuisine to have tomatoes and chile. So that is, part of the traditional culture, the food here in New Mexico, and also people coming from other states. Tomatoes are a big part of their cuisines as well, and fresh cut tomatoes in the summer. Bacon, lettuce, and tomato, or on your salads. It's just a really popular vegetable, which is really a fruit, but it's okay. Anyway, so,
okay,
yes, so
let's say, is it a fruit?
It can be challenging in that, our soils are not the best. So how do you how do you get healthy soils that are good for growing vegetables, because they require some nutrients, and it's
How
not
do
just
you
like a
do that,
tree.
Linda? How do you do that?
First, I recommend getting a soils test, but if you're doing, most people, not most, but a lot of people use container gardens, so they're buying bagged container mix, which has everything they need. But if you're in the ground, we have sandy soils or clay soils. We don't have a lot of organic matter in our soils, which is where the organic matter releases the nutrients that those plants need to take up in their roots. So you need to supplement and put organic matter in, like using compost or other organic materials in your soil to help break up if it's clay, or add organic matter to hold water in the soil if it's sandy, so that there's enough nutrients in there for those plants to thrive and produce fruit.
Are we seeing more people using, what do they call, above ground beds?
Container gardens.
Yes. Yeah.
Then just
raised bed.
Raised beds.
Raised bed. And again, if they want more information, the Ready Set Grow is the place to go, because
Okay.
I think we cover raised beds as well.
Yes.
Like materials that you can use, the type of mix, how do you plan your irrigation system. I think it's also easier when you have raised bed. It might be easier to cover them or provide some plants some protection during the winter as well. So, but yeah, that is one alternative if the soil in your area might be compacted, or if you have like gopher issues, or even as part of the your landscape design as well. Maybe raised bed is an alternative for you.
And I've only seen a neighbor has them, but I was told also they're nice because you don't have to bend over.
Absolutely.
Yes. Actually, at the extension office, we have a demonstration garden, or raised beds are kind of like waist height. So same thing, yeah. You don't have to bend over if you have back issues or mobility issues.
Well,
it's kind
the
of
roots
easier.
though, in a raised bed, is there wood underneath, a wood platform underneath the raised bed, or is it?
Not necessarily underneath. Again, unless you have some gopher issue, you might want to provide some protection at the very bottom, so they won't eat your vegetables. But other than that, you can just leave it as it is and just raise the bed, the walls.
You
around.
brought so many things, seeds and hose and books, that we're going to have another show with you and talk about individual projects throughout the state in each of our counties, or at least where the 16 extension offices are, because I know I learned a lot on this show, and I look forward to having another one with you, Lynda Garvin and Sarah Moran. Thank you so much for being a part of this program, and we're going to talk more about Master Gardening, how you can get involved, and everything's online. Just check it out there, but stay tuned for our next show because it's fun to watch us. And next time, I promise I won't wear that hat. We'll see you again. Thanks for watching. I'm Diane. Make it a great week with your family. Bye-bye.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, helped me pay for my house. Being part-time really helped because I could have some opportunities that were still in education.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinnewater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.